Okay, hello and welcome back to the channel. We have quite a lot to unpack today after the massive gameplay deep dive and the recent press embargo lift for EA WRC last night. I'm going to share my own opinions on the video overall, the things I thought were good, the things I thought were bad, and some other bits I'm on the fence about, and also give you your chance to have your say. Firstly, we need to be aware that this game is still a work in progress. Some of the footage used could be significantly older than others, so we are going to try to keep it big picture where we can. So overall, I felt the presentation was strong, a much better offering than the reveal trailer we had previously, as this time we got to see the game in action, being driven, along with some in-depth talk on the handling, physics and environmental features in the game. So, on the graphics then, overall, looking holistically at the full presentation, I think the game looks great. These screenshots of the game show detailed, handcrafted recreations of real-world stages, which make me very excited indeed to know that I'll have over 600 kilometres of them to explore on release. There's much more stage-side detail than in Dirt Rally 2, from a build-up of rocks and debris on the outside to just denser, more rich vegetation, and it appears a wider range of surfaces, possibly owing to the expanded calendar and seasonal variations. Stage widths have also been given some attention, with narrower looking roads in many areas, which I know a lot of fans of the franchise were looking for, as they felt on the whole Dirt Rally 2.0 offered a little too much width. The colour palette looks to me to be similar to Dirt Rally 2.0, maybe not as heavily saturated, but you can tell that this is its spiritual successor with a similar overall style, which has been met with some criticism as people suggest it's not much of an improvement on Dirt Rally 2. I know that many people were expecting like a massive super leap in graphical fidelity with the move to Unreal and being on new gen only consoles as well as PC, but let's not forget that the reason EA WRC moved to Unreal was to allow for bigger, longer stages, as Ego Engine was stretched to breaking point in Dirt Rally. Also, it needs to run at 60 FPS across consoles, including the Series S, as well as fitting in with the current average PC build and future VR implementation, so I think we do need to get a bit of perspective here. Also, I know that some of the footage shown is from older builds of the game, which is still very much a work in progress, so additional graphical adjustments and stage art may be added as we move towards release. Let me know what you think about the graphics in the comments below while you're hitting that subscribe button, it really helps. I know that Douglas Thompson, a YouTube content creator to whom I subscribe, on his channel Sleepypants Sim Racing, aimed a fair amount of criticism at the game's graphics, which is absolutely fair and his right to do. In particular, he brings up the road's surface detail and the fact it appears a little flat and there's a lack of texture there, like gravel texture I guess, but again this is a work in progress, and also I think having a more detailed gravel texture with real stones and deformable gravel would be incredibly resource heavy. We already know, for instance, we are getting a new version of stage degradation, which to me suggests that even within one seasonal variation, say a single summer dry gravel stage, there will be at least 3 different surfaces available just within one summer dry stage, depending on where in the running order you're starting. So if you're first on the road, you'll be sweeping clear the dusty, gravelly top layer. Running a little further down the order in the optimum window, you'll have a clean line with a visible driving line cleared by the front runners, and further down the order still, you'll get rutted surfaces, perhaps with rocks dragged onto the inside line, etc. So I get the opinion, it's 100% valid, but I do think we need to look big picture at what's being offered here overall. That being said, check out Sleepypants Sim Racing. I will link it in the description and go make your own mind up. It's a super entertaining channel anyways, and Doug offers plenty of entertaining sim racing shenanigans. Onto the audio then. One thing we know is that Codemasters are frankly unbeatable when it comes to rally car audio. Particularly for me, the in-car sound, and here in this reveal we get treated to some awesome engine and exhaust notes recorded direct from their real-life counterparts, which looks like an amazing job by the way. I know that the in-car sounds in particular are going to be as realistic and immersive as it is possible to get. That being said, there is always room for improvement when it comes to the stage side recordings, like in replays as the cars pass a single point. Again, Sleepypants Sim Racing raised an interesting piece of criticism in that the cars didn't sound as powerful or as much of an epic event as they do in the real world, and I have to say I sort of agree. I'm lucky enough to have spectated at many real-world WRC events, including at this year's Rally Finland, and I'll soon be at the inaugural Central European Rally, and I've included a short video here from one of those stages in Finland, and I think The thing that's missing is that sound of what I can only describe as the car approaching, seeming to be inhaling the road in front of it. A big, powerful building suction sound that builds up to an absolute explosion of engine and exhaust noise as the car approaches. Check it out and then compare it with the in-game audio.
Stage will be the key to your success. Do you go with...
That was only recorded on my phone, which is obviously going to be pretty poor quality, but offers a reasonably accurate sound picture of what is experienced in real life. Maybe it's just the Doppler effect of the cars passing a single point and the echo of the surrounding environment which adds the drama, but when compared to similar examples in the gameplay video, the game's audio feels a little thin compared to the massive event that a passing WRC car is. Maybe a work in progress thing, but it's something missing from almost every rally game. That being said, it may simply be difficult to implement those approaching, building explosions and reverberations of sound from a single point in space. I don't know, but I will try and find out. And again, let me know what you think about the sound below in the comments. On to the in-game presentation then. We haven't seen a huge amount, though we can see the front menu screen here, which is fairly clean and simple, nothing to write home about, but nothing much to complain about either. Interestingly, we can see an option for Rally School here, which confirms that we will be able to put on our training wheels and learn how to drive in a variety of conditions before being let off the leash in the big bad world. One negative though, which again may be a work in progress thing, is here in the image of a car in service. It looks a little bland and feels a little empty. Also doesn't appear to show the differences between the various teams' garages, which in real life can look vastly different. I'd hope for a little more life and buzz as you climb the ranks to the world's top tier of rally. Another presentational aspect is the addition of some form of commentary and engineer support. We see a clip of the video's narrator, Molly Pettit, who is a WRC all-live commentator and journalist, as well as being a racing driver in her own right. Molly will also be offering some form of stage start and end commentary, which I guess will be based off of your performances and may also allude to other drivers suffering problems or retirements. The engineer, or what looks like the equivalent of a chief engineer, will also be on hand in career mode to offer some feedback or consolation, as we can see in this shot with the auto cue showing various speech options based on situational triggers. Right then, this is the big one, handling and damage model. The enormous elephant in the room and the biggest conversation piece across social media for as long as we've known this game is coming. We now know that it isn't going to be a step backwards from Dirt Rally 2.0, as they are basing the handling model off of it, which means no step towards a more arcade experience, and in fact a leap forward in several areas. Stated here, we can see that they say that tarmac handling has been improved, which should be music to everyone's ears, as that was identified as a weak point in Dirt Rally 2, so I for one am glad they have addressed it. There is however still some concern, as some of the movement on tarmac within this gameplay video looks a bit weird and janky, not what you'd expect to see from improved tarmac handling physics. This may be due to assists being used, but also and undoubtedly mostly down to the fact that a control pad has been used for the demo footage, which is a bit of an own goal as it gives off a jerky vibe which may not at all represent how the game responds to the smoother, more progressive input that a wheel offers. It may be that at the time of capture there was no wheel support, which would seem odd in itself, I don't know, but yeah, not doing themselves any favours by using a control pad for the demo. However, you absolutely cannot accurately judge the handling of a game based on a video anyways. Let's wait for some of that hands-on goodness. Among specific improvements we have aerodynamic simulation, which you can sort of see in the jump clip as the back of the car is pushed down after takeoff. And we know that the latest generation of cars, since 2017 at least, have been given much more aerodynamic freedom, so simulating this is super important, and I can't wait to feel how differently those newer cars respond when put under some high-speed corner testing. Furthermore, we know that our very own John Armstrong has been leading the way on developing a more accurate handling experience, though I can't imagine he's been in the office much, given he's been off gallivanting around Europe winning an actual rally championship. Well done, by the way, Johnny boy. We are also told that improvements have been made to drivetrain inertia, progressive braking, hopefully including handbrake adjustability, and better force feedback, which all sounds pretty wonderful, though it doesn't mean much until we get our filthy little paws on it, does it? And if hardcore death wish levels of handling aren't your thing, there are a whole raft of assists which can be fine-tuned to allow for a smoother learning curve as you enter the world of rallying, such as traditional traction control, stability control and ABS braking, along with the new additions such as throttle limiter to smooth off those rougher edges of the more powerful cars, and simplified pace notes, helping you to concentrate on the driving rather than having to decipher a machine gun volley of jargon. We have just had some kind of small press embargo lifted, which allows press outlets to reveal some key features shown to them by EA Codemasters. One such insight is the damage model. We are told that a modern car's body panels may break and deform differently to more historic cars, due to different build materials, i.e. metals versus carbon fibre. We also get a revealing caveat in that it mentions the damage model has been reached in conjunction with the manufacturers, which suggests to me that Codemasters may have wanted a more detailed damage model in some areas, but the manufacturers have said no thanks. Unfortunately, that is often the way with licensing and not much anyone can do about it. There is also a nod towards damage physics in that there will be mechanical damage, of course, and a hardcore damage option which will suit the more hardcore simmers amongst you. What excites you most about the handling and damage systems mentioned? Let me know below. On to the environment then, my favourite. We do now know that we are getting dynamic weather, meaning you can start a stage in dry conditions and potentially end the stage in wet conditions, or vice versa. I do hope this is meted out in a logical way, as dynamic weather can be applied in a slightly gung-ho way once it's been implemented for the first time. In the KT WRC games, I felt that some of the weather transitions were too quick and felt odd, breaking my immersion. I also hope it doesn't just have a single stage logic, but rally logic, with a rally progressing to more wet or dry conditions in a realistic fashion between stages. I don't necessarily want to finish a soaking wet stage and go straight into a bone dry dust bowl. We also, of course, got a look at the seasonal variations, and we know that all non-snow permanent locations will have seasonal options from spring to winter and everything in between. Rally Scandia, which is probably Norway, and Sweden, which is Sweden, will not have seasonal variations, probably owing to the construction of snowbanks, etc., just making it too much of a job to redesign the whole stage around. Also, hotter areas of the world like Mexico, Rally Pacifico, which is probably Indonesia, and Kenya will probably not have snowy winters, but more a wet season and a dry season. For example, dusty in summer with mud baths in quote-unquote winter. I, for one, hope some of this seasonal variation comes to career mode, particularly Monte Carlo, as in real life it's a super unpredictable event, with some years having a lot of snow and ice, and others having none at all. It would be great if we have that level of unpredictability going into each season start, which would offer maximum immersion factor for us rally nerds. Right then, that's it from me. Please subscribe to my tiny little channel if you're feeling charitable, and maybe even give it a like. I look forward to speaking to you all in the comments. See you later.